My relationships were painful, like really painful. And I had no idea why. I had no idea why I couldn't receive love from anyone that I was in relationship with. I had no idea why there was so much pain in relationship with my mum, with my partners, with my friendships. I had no idea why I had such low self-worth, why I never felt good enough to be around people. I had no idea why I had to mold myself to anyone and everyone that I was around, to try and get the other people around me to like me, to try and fit in with them, to try and belong, so that I wouldn't be alone. I had no idea why I had such trouble relating to other people. And I had a lot of coping mechanisms to deal with this, to squash the pain, to make relating and being bearable, to make it less painful. And I had a pretty intimate relationship with many of these mechanisms. Alcohol, drugs, all of these things that I would do to try and make myself feel better. Food, cheating on partners, these things that I would do to try and get love and approval and make myself feel special, seen, heard, to make myself feel like I was good enough, like I was valid in the world. And when I finally got to a point where I realized I couldn't do this anymore, when I was using drugs over in London at work, trying to run a team of architects below me, and I realized I can't do this anymore. I can't live like this anymore. I can't live where I need to reach for the wine bottle as soon as I get home, just so I can feel some kind of connection with my partner, where I need some kind of substance to be able to feel some level of intimacy with other people, because I just didn't know how to create that for myself when I was sober. I had no idea how to create the depth of connection that I wanted to create with the other people in my world. And when it finally got to a point where I couldn't go any lower, I mean, taking drugs at work is kind of, that was the bottom of the hole that I was in. And my idea or my way out was to have children. That was how I was going to stop these destructive patterns, these coping mechanisms that made life bearable, that enabled me to feel like I had some kind of connection with the other people around me. It made me feel like I had some kind of connection or belonging in the world. So I told my partner that I wanted to have children, that I was done with the drugs, I was done with the alcohol, and I wanted to clean up my life. And having a family was what I thought was going to do that. Not necessarily the best why, however, it did save my life in so many ways. However, it got worse before it got better. Because all of the pain and all of the emotion and all of the everything that I'd been squashing down for so many years came up through the process of birth. When I had a newborn baby and I wasn't able to use those old tools anymore, those old approaches, those old coping mechanisms, those old addictions, because I wanted to be there for my child. I wanted to be there because all of this old stuff, all of this old abandonment, all of this old not belonging, all of this old pain that I'd been so busy trying to avoid and so busy trying to push down with everything I had, came up. Because I was so determined not to abandon my child the way that I'd felt abandoned as a child. So I had no old crutches, I had no mechanisms, I had no tools to hold myself in this, and my world fell apart. It completely fell apart. And I ended up in a mother and baby unit in London, because that's where I was, over the other side of the world from my family, from my upbringing, from everything that I knew. And I ended up in this mother and baby unit, which is just a nice way of saying mental institution for mothers. Ranging from severe postnatal depression and anxiety all the way through to psychosis. And that's where I ended up with my newborn baby for 3 months. I was medicated. I took antidepressants for 2 years. But over that 3 months, the first 2 weeks while the medication was kicking in, the nurses told me afterwards that they couldn't even reach me. They couldn't even talk to me because I was so in my stuff. I was so in all of this pain that was coming up to the surface, and I had no way of dealing with it. And I lost the plot. I lost the plot. And when I look back now, it makes sense. It makes sense that I completely lost the plot because I had no tools. It makes sense that everything that I thought wouldn't happen to me as a parent happened. And I wanted to know why. I really wanted to know why. And that was when the questioning began. Because I wanted to understand why all of the vision of the life that I'd imagined for myself with these rose-tinted glasses of having a family and having a husband and being these 50-50 parents, hands-on parents with our new baby. I wanted to know why none of that happened. None of it worked out the way that I wanted it to. I wanted to know why. And I really wanted the answers to these questions. And in that hospital, I got every therapy that I could get. everything that they had. I wanted it because I wanted to get better for my baby. And I got it. I got everything they had. And the therapy that they had there was all talking therapy. It was all cognitive behavioral therapy. It was group therapy, individual therapy. It was all talking therapy. The only thing that they had that wasn't talking therapy was art therapy. And I did that too, because I was determined. I was determined to get better. And once I knew what it was, once I knew that it was postnatal depression, once I knew that it was anxiety, which I'd never experienced before, probably because I was so busy pushing everything down and taking drugs and drinking tons of alcohol so that I wouldn't feel it, so that the depression would lay dormant, right? And clearly it was. The anxiety. When I would walk out of my flat in London and I wouldn't know whether to go left or right when I was taking my baby for a walk. That had never happened to me before. I'd never experienced anything like that. And my heart goes out to anyone that has. And I'm so grateful for the help and the support and the therapy that I got in that hospital that got me to a point where I could function. It got me to a point where I could be in the world and I could reconcile the thoughts that I was having. I could talk myself out of the thoughts, because that's where I got to. It didn't reach the core of why I was having them. And I wanted to know why there as well. I wanted to know why I was still so stuck in my thoughts and my feelings and so overwhelmed by them, still so completely trapped by this absolutely overwhelming and crushing sense of lack of worth, right? Lack of being good enough. This absolute powerlessness that I felt in my life, this complete disconnection that I had from me and every other person around me, where I didn't feel this bond to my baby, where I still didn't feel this intimacy that I craved with my husband, where I still kept potential friendships at arm's length, where I wasn't able to create this network of parents so that I didn't feel so alone as a mother. I still wasn't able to do that. And I wanted to know why. And it wasn't until many years later, as I said, I was able to function. It wasn't until many years later that I found different approaches, different tools, different processes, different work, different consciousness. And I've been deep diving in that ever since. Absolutely life-changing, transformational levels of consciousness that I would never have imagined were possible. Awareness and the ability and the capacity to work with my body, to allow this old stuff to continue to come out of my body. All the stuff that I was pushing down for so many years, to enable that to just easily flow out of me, so that it created space. It created space for the new consciousness, the new awareness, the new understandings, the new ways of being to come in, to arrive, to take root. And both of these streams of work that I did, that enable me to answer these questions, that enable me to understand where I was coming from and why I related the way I did to myself and other people, why I felt so disconnected and felt so alone and felt so unsupported in my life as a human, as a woman, as a partner, as a mother, as a parent, as a friend. It helped me understand where I was coming from, which I needed to know, so that I could move somewhere else, so that I could change, so that I could begin to create a vision, a direction, to be able to create the connection that I really, really wanted in my life, where I wasn't expecting the other people around me to change, which I did really, really well. Like, I was a master at expecting everybody else to change, where I knew that it was here that needed to change, because I was the common denominator in all of these relationships, that I really wanted more depth and more intimacy, more connection, more love, more ability to be able to see and be seen. Where I was able to bring it back to me and the connection with myself, and have that create the connection outside of myself. Where I was able to stop blaming the other people and take responsibility and take ownership and understand myself so much more. Where I was able to communicate in a completely different way, which came from my heart. Not my pain, not my beliefs, not my conditioning, not my past experiences, where I could communicate from my heart in the present moment with what was happening right in front of me, rather than dragging all that old shit up and plonking it in the space between myself and the other person that I was trying to relate to. Where I'm able to be able to sit in conflict, in upset, without trying to avoid it and push it away, or just smooth everything over and cross my own boundaries, trying to make the conflict go away, which I was rather good at. Now I'm able to sit in those places because I know there's gold there. I know that conflict is the best tool for self-awareness ever, if I can hold myself powerfully in it. And that's what I learned how to do. I learned how to create mutually empowered relationships where I felt empowered and the other person was empowered, because I was coming from such a different place. I was coming from a place of sovereignty. I was coming from a place of wholeness. I was coming from a place of feeling complete within myself, that I didn't need to get everything from outside in desperation. And it was desperation, where I felt so needy because I was so stuck in that sense of not being worthy and not being good enough, and not, all of that I talked about before. And I was trying to fill myself up from outside. And now, with the tools that I've learned and the work that I've done and the absolute incredible levels of consciousness that I now have, that I now teach, been able to create these beautiful, supportive, loving, heart-centered relationships that are mutually empowered, that are sovereign, where we come together as sovereign beings and hold ourselves powerfully in these functional relationships, rather than the dysfunction that I had been experiencing my entire life. And it's mind-blowing what is possible. The levels of intimacy, the levels of vulnerability, the levels of realness, of authenticity that become available, the depth of intimacy that arrives from that space. It's mind-blowing. It's heart-opening. The difference in the way that I relate in terms of sexuality, in terms of sensuality, in terms of my playfulness, my curiosity, my innocence. Completely different way of relating, completely different way of being in relationship. Oh my God, as my parenting got so much better. It's a completely different level now. Because I interact with my kids, I relate to my kids from this moment right here. And there's so much playfulness and there's so much curiosity that becomes available. The relationship with their dad, right, my boy's dad, is supportive, it's loving. We see each other. We see each other. I don't think we ever saw each other in our whole 10 years of marriage. We never saw each other, and now we do. Now we're moving through life together alongside one another, choosing to be the best parents that we can be for our children, because there are no ex-partners in parenting. That other parent is going to be in your life forever, in some way, shape, or form, even if it's only in the memory of your children and the memory of you. I had a friend who asked me what my why was with the work that I do. And so I was really dropping into that when I chose to do this video. And I'm choosing to share this hugely vulnerable story that is my story of how I came from there, the bottom of that hole, to transmuting that whole experience, which could be seen as the lead, right? That I've transmuted into gold. Because this birthed in me the desire, the purpose, the mission to support other people to create relationships that they absolutely love. not ones that they don't understand, or they're just surviving, they're just getting through, they're tolerating. Because enough tolerating. I tolerated for so many years of my life. And it stopped me from creating these absolutely mind-blowing, loving, supportive, empowered, sovereign connections in my life, where I have these incredible people around me, this beautiful circle of close friendships, and a group of people called the WolfPack, who are these amazingly empowered souls who want to create these relationships for themselves too, and know that it takes a pack, right? It takes a wolf pack. It takes a group of people to do it. And it's way more fun in the pack. And I gathered this group of people because I've been a lone wolf my entire life. And I was done. I was done with it. And now I have this pack of wolves, this pack of like-minded people who are committed to live their lives in deep connection with themselves, in deep connection with other people, where they are open and vulnerable and have a willingness to see and be seen, from their hearts to the hearts of another, to the hearts of all of the other people around them. And that is an evolution in the way that we relate to other people, where we can see past the differing opinions, past the beliefs, past the past of the person, of the people that are standing in front of us, and to their hearts, because everyone has a heart. Every single person on this planet has a heart. And I love to bring this work to empower people to take off that armor, to allow themselves to be seen in their vulnerability, and to see other people from that place. Because that's what it's all about. If you've been listening, if you've made your way to the end of this video, which is quite a thing because it's almost half an hour, and I didn't want to rush this. If this has been speaking to your heart, if this is what you desire for yourself, to be able to create relationships that absolutely blow your heart open with a depth of connection that you never thought was possible, with playfulness, with lightness, with whatever's happening in the relationship, whatever's happening in front of you, there's a lightness there, where you're able to relate to other people no matter what is happening, with a lightness, with laughter, with love, with vulnerability, with authenticity. If that's what you would love, then I've got something really special for you. And what I've got is the first 3 levels in a curriculum that I've been putting together. If I was really honest, from the moment I became a mother and beyond, but I've been taking all of these experiences, all of this journey, all of this transmutation of my lead, all the shitty bits of my life, and transmuting it into gold, because I had to change my relationship to what happened in my past to be able to bring this work to other people, to be able to serve people in it. And even though I've been sharing my story with you and I've been feeling it, I'm not going to lie. Like, I can feel the tears behind my eyes. I can feel it inside myself. And I know that it birthed in me the desire to serve other people in this space of relationships, of parenting. Our relationships to everyone, to everything, to ourselves. And this thing that I've got is the first 3 levels, level 1, level 2, and level 3 of the way of the WolfPack. It's a curriculum of human relationships. Level 1 is connection with self, bringing it back here. Level 2 is connection with others. And level 3 is an integration of those 2 levels in a live container where the real relationship magic happens. So if you're interested in the creation of next level relationships, mutually empowered and sovereign ways of relating to the other people in your life, then this is for you. You might not even know how to get there yet. You might not even believe it's possible. And I'm a walking, talking testament that it is. Been through the fire, baby. Been in the trenches. And a lot of that I've just shared with you. So this program kicks off in about 4 weeks. All of the details are on the link below. The early bird price runs out at the end of this weekend. So if you're interested, if you're in, get in there. Get your skates on. Because this price, this investment, this early bird is going to disappear at the end of the weekend. There are 2 payment plans available to help you. If you need something else, another type of agreement, arrangement, then let me know. And we will get on a call and we will work out how you're going to get to this program. How you're going to blow your relationships into a completely different stratosphere. Because that is the evolution that I'm all about leading. An evolution of mutually empowered and sovereign relationships. Because that is the new relationship technology that is now available to us. Yay! So I look forward to seeing you soon.